If everybody would please stand. Greg, would you lead us in the invocation?
Lord, we thank you for this time. We thank you for the opportunity to help with the development of our school district. We thank you for all the guests here that take interest in that. We pray that you will lead and guide us. We pray our decisions will be pleasing to you and that you will watch over each and every one of us. We ask all this in our name, in your name and our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Les, would you lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome all our guests here tonight. Thank you for coming. Let's see here. We'll start out here with item number 4, campus reports and recognitions. Did I miss anything?
Had some reports on there. Did y'all have any questions?
Did anybody have any reports on any questions on the reports, or if not, we'll go on to item number 5. We've got a student presentation by the technology students. This is the VMS TSA National Qualifiers.
Okay, who is in charge?
They're all 4 hours.
Okay, so here's your microphone. Speak right into it.
Let me take my mask. Do I tell them we start with the issue? Okay. We're going to start with the summary of the issue. Becker muscular dystrophy is an inherited disease that weakens and damages the host's muscles over time. This is because of the lack of protein called dystrophin, which is essential for muscular function. Without dystrophin, problems with walking and muscle coordination worsen over time. Symptoms for Becker's muscular dystrophy appear between the ages of 11 and 25. The symptoms are muscle cramps, frequent falling, and trouble getting up. There is no actual cure for Becker muscular dystrophy.
When deciding the illness to address, we were torn between muscular sclerosis and Becker's muscular dystrophy. We decided on Becker's muscular dystrophy because muscular sclerosis affects both the legs and the hands over time. The crutch will not be as useful for the person with that disease. The crutch helps people who do not want to be seen with it, plus it is easily stored. When we improved the model of the crutch, we got rid of the tip to save money, reduce environmental impact, and make it more affordable for the consumer. Furthermore, the crutch is sustainable and cost-effective because it can grow as the user matures.
The crutch that we have is made from a pre-existing style. The design of the elbow crutch is incorporated into our collapsible crutch. The reason we chose an elbow crutch is because it has better support for people and makes it more comfortable for the user. The cuff helps support the elbow and the handle extends to make it more comfortable for the user.
This is our first model for region that we submitted. Okay, to have it extend, you would press the button at the bottom and then pull it out. To collapse it, you would press the button again and then pull it back down. This is our second one that we submitted for state. This one had a little problems with the button, and we increased it to 3 parts so that it would be longer, and the height, it could like change and vary with the user. And it has the same use. You would push down the buttons to collapse it all the way, and then to pull it out, you would make sure it goes through the buttons to extend it. This is our final model. We submitted this one for national. This is a life size, and this one is also 3 parts. You would do the same. You would pull out and then find the button. It's right here, yeah. And the bottom part is just for the tip to like be more stable. Oh, I don't know if you can really see, but yeah.
You're perfect.
So you ladies designed and then printed this, is that right?
Yes, sir.
3D printer?
3D?
Yes, sir.
With a CAD program.
With a what?
With the CAD program. Sorry, that was me.
That's great. Excellent.
Very impressive.
And you took this and you competed, now tell me about nationals.
What would you like to hear?
So you had to demonstrate just as you did here, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We made a video that we. Sorry. We made a video that is basically us explaining all of this, and it was just a video that we edited to make it look nicer.
Right. You had some some issues traveling because of COVID.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you have to go again, so that you can actually travel next time, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. Well, we're very proud of you young ladies, and,
Very good.
and know that you guys are gonna do some great things in the future as well, so very inspired by you as well, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reeve, and just wanted to reiterate that Brooke Reeve was named National TSA Middle School Sponsor Coach of the Year, right?
Ms. Reed, did you say place the girls were? They were top 12, so top 12 in the nation. Total competition was 250,000 competitors. Total, not there's a certain event that's how many competitors there were.
And there were people from other countries this time too.
Outstanding, ladies. Once again, congratulations, and we're excited about your accomplishment and know that you're gonna have a whole lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're breaking the stereotype of women in engineering and science, right? So, outstanding. Thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
Probably the first presentation we've had in a long time.
It has, it is. So thank you. That's great. Well, you're welcome to stick around all night. These things usually last about 4 hours.
They're actually late for band practice.
Oh, well, that's another thing
Yeah.
that we had too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
Okay, we have anybody signed up? Okay. All right, we're gonna go to item number 7, presentation of delinquent tax report. Mr. Brady?
It's loading, is what it says. How about that? All right. All right. Mr. Hopper, President Sutton, thank you so much for having me today. I'm Charles Brady, and I'm a partner at the Linebarger Law Firm. With me today is Amanda Snowpeck. She is the area manager that's assigned to your account, and she handles all of the issues that involve litigation and payment plans. And when it comes to somebody who's in charge and kind of has a lot of daily impact or a lot of daily contact with people that live in the Venus ISD, that would be her. And I go to court, and I handle all of the paperwork that she develops for me. So she's really good, and we had Ruthie in that position for a very long time, and she's retired, and Amanda has taken her place, and I couldn't be luckier. So Amanda's kind of seeing how it's done on this end this evening. This is her first report. All right. So if you go to the first page there, it will discuss collections over the last 12 months. As you know, your bills for taxes are going to come out for delinquent or for property taxes are going to come out in October, and you have until the end of January of the next year to pay them. And if you don't pay them, they go delinquent, at which point there's a graduating series of penalties and interest that go on there for 6 months. And if you still haven't paid last year's taxes by July the 1st of this year, then they get turned over to a law firm to collect, and that would be our law firm. Now, our services don't cost the district anything. There's a 15% fee that's added on to the account, and when we collect on the account, the 15% is paid directly by the taxpayer, and that's what pays us. So we handle all of our publication costs and all of our titling fees and everything like that. This is a no-cost service to the Venus ISD. If you'll notice there, base tax collections from July the 1st, 2020 to June the 30th, 2021, that's 12 months, is $192,650, which for a district this size is actually really good. Base tax refunds are at $22,662. There are a few districts to the north and to the east of you where people are arguing their values all the time now, and all of you are getting larger than average bills from your appraisal district, and that's going to continue to happen unless we can convince people that this is a terrible place to live and to not move here from California or wherever it is they're coming from. So your values are going to continue to grow, and when that happens, you can avail yourself to appraisal district disputes through the appraisal review board, and for some reason that just hasn't hit Johnson County yet. But I'm telling you, it is coming. One of these days, everybody that owns a house that's valued at a certain amount is going to argue their values, and you'll have a lot of issues that come from that. But as for now, let's just be happy that we only lost $22,000 in value last year. That's a nice number. Penalty and interest collections is $49,406. Most of that comes from litigation efforts because we send out letters and we normally collect about 70% of everything that's turned over to us in the first year. That 30% that's left are the people that just can't pay or won't pay. And those are the accounts that we have to deal with in litigation. I'll get into that a little bit later when we go into those statistics. But all in all, the current year effort was very good last year. And we send out a lot of letters. You can see that there's 1,499 accounts that we continually send letters on, and we've requested over $515,000 of money on those accounts. Now, this is the litigation portion, because again, when you're dealing with people that can't pay the bill or just won't pay the bill, and there are several instances like this, especially in rural America, where somebody has inherited a portion of a piece of property. It used to belong to grandma and grandpa, and then there's 6 grandkids. You might own a sixth of it, but if you pay all of the taxes on it, it's not going to make you any more of an owner in it than anybody else. So, and then everybody's scattered to the winds, and one grandkid lives in California and one lives up in Illinois, and you can't ever get everybody together. There's a lot of those, and not just here, but everywhere in rural America. And let's face it, about 60 years ago, this was all farmland still. And that kind of thing happened a lot. And we're still dealing with some of that. So we've really put our best foot forward with litigation efforts. That's Amanda's area. She's really done a good job. We filed 44 lawsuits. And it's not so much filing a lot of lawsuits that I'm happy about, it's that we resolved 32 of them without having, yeah, exactly. And then it's because 10 were paid in full, 15 went to judgment, and then 4 for non-suit, and then 3 are release judgments that we did. We didn't have to sell a lot. You know, we threaten to sell sometimes, but a lot of times people come to their senses beforehand. They find a way to borrow the money and pay it. Now, we do have a list of properties that are ready for sale. Amanda's going to go into those a little bit later in the presentation, but all in all, it's not just that we filed a lot of lawsuits on your behalf, it's that we've gotten them resolved in ways other than selling people's property out from under them. I like that. Again, 32 suits resolved for $119,000 for the Venus ISD, and we dismissed 10 of those cases that were valued at about $23,000. There's a lot of non-suits. There's 4 non-suits that we've issued as a result of that. Okay, so top 25 delinquent tax accounts, that's on the next page. I don't really call people out to the dance floor. This is for y'all to look at. I will say that the number 3 on there is an uncollectible account, and there's actually several different accounts on there that are uncollectible due to their age. And our appraisal district and our tax office doesn't remove things from the tax roll for whatever reason, but those are beyond the statute of limitations to collect. That was a tank destroyal service that was here in 2003. That's more than 10 years. That should be removed from the rolls. So we're working to try and get that done. We've come up with some pretty inventive solutions. Mrs. Schwartz is going to be working with us on that. We've given her a couple of forms, maybe the ones that we'll submit to the tax office will work. TEA collection percentages are always really good here. Of course, if you don't collect at least 98% of your own roll, of your own tax roll, the TEA, the Texas Education Association, says, hey, well, if you can't even get this much out of your local roll, then what are we doing sending you money? So it can actually affect your state funding by collecting too little at this level. The 2018 and 19 year are over 100% with penalty and interest. In 2020, again, that was the year that was just turned over to us on July the 1st. That's at 99.86 already. So we're looking to have you over at 100% here in the next couple of months after we get some collections under our belt. We're conducting site visits. I've been doing those myself, and so has Amanda. Really coming to grips with, because we are finally to the end. I remember when I stood here, Les and Joe, y'all were here, Mr. Hoffman, you were here, where we had $500,000 of mobile home debt that was up in the homesteads, that was very difficult to collect, and I promised y'all we were going to do something about that. And if you'll go to the next, I'll skip forward some, but here, if you'll notice, finally, we've been able to get that mobile home debt. It's the second to last page. We've been able to get that mobile home debt down to $128,000. So I'm very happy with the way that that's going, either by collecting those or by instituting tax warrants and selling them to other people. We've really been able to attack the mobile home debt problem that we had for years, brought about mostly by unscrupulous developers that were selling and reselling the same pieces of property to the same people over and over again. You know who I'm talking about. It was not, so you end up with debt that on mobile homes, and then you've got 3 different accounts that are assigned to one piece of property, and it was a real mess that particular developer and another like him left us with. But finally, I think we've reached a point to where everything that's on the mobile home list is either something that we can seize and sell to the landowner, or it's just completely, they call it a mobile home, but once it's installed, there's nothing less mobile. I mean, it's never going to go anywhere, and a lot of these are 10 and 20 years on the ground, and you can say that it's a mobile home and you can tax it as personal property, but the fact is that it's never going anywhere. So trying to get the local owners, And I've done this dozens of times. We're knocking on the door, putting statements on there with stickers, asking in either English or Spanish, because we have a very large Spanish-speaking population in the homesteads these days. Pay something, anything on these pieces of property. We need for you to make good on this. And there's people that have 5 and 6 and 10 of those things on one lot out there, and it's the county land, so they can do this, and there's no regulations against it. So trying to cure that problem, but we've already gotten through a whole big bunch of it. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that we were able to do what we said we were going to do. And then the page in front of that, you'll notice that there's lawsuits at about $389,000. Now y'all are owed $716,000 worth of base tax as of July the 1st. Again, 200 and something of that. Let me move over to the other page. I'm sorry, 158,196 of that is base tax from 2020 that was turned over to us. So y'all turned over less taxes for us to collect this year than you did in 2019. In 2020 for the 2019 year, and fewer accounts as well. So your accounts are getting paid and less is being turned over for us to collect, which my whole goal here is to try and work myself out of a job, and that's gradually happening. Okay. But right now there's 1,511 accounts, 716,000 that are base tax. My goal with that is to get all of the accounts that are uncollectible out of there, which we're pretty much, I think that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars involved. And you do have quite a number of deferrals, people that are over the age of 65, people that are fully disabled veterans. And then we have some that are coded to uncollectible, but I believe the amount is larger than that. We've had a spike in bankruptcy this year. Normally that number is very low. Currently $34,000 of your total base is in a bankruptcy status of some sort. And we're going to get to work on bad addresses and return addresses. I think that number is probably a little high, $64,000. We'll put together a skip trace effort and find who those people are that own those properties, and we'll see if we can't get them to pay, see if we can't get those moved down the road. But overall, y'all collect very, very well. The school district collects incredible. Have problems, but they don't have anything to do with delinquent tax, and we're happy to be on the team. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But thank you so much for your business. We appreciate it, and I've been working with this school district for 13 years now, and I'm just very appreciative for your business. Thank you so much.
We
Yes, sir.
appreciate the service, at least I do.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Appreciate what you do.
Charles, just for clarification.
Yes, Mr. Russ.
The deferral taxes,
Mhm.
those go on forever deferred until that occupant vacates that property, and then they are due at that time.
They vacate with the intention to never return, which there's one of two ways to do that. One is obviously to pass on, and the other is to move into somebody else's house and to cease to use that property as a primary residence. What we're seeing a lot of now with aging folks is that they'll move into a convalescence home. Well, if you ask anybody in a convalescence home, they'll tell you, I'm not spending the rest of my life here, I want to go home. And so long as it's their intention to move back into the house, then that homestead remains intact. Also, what we're seeing here is a lot of second marriages that have gone on, and if the homestead recipient, if the over 65 deferral recipient passes away and has a spouse that is over 55 years of age, then that deferral passes right on to the spouse. So, and that person in a lot of cases is younger than the person who was receiving the initial deferral.
So that could go on for years.
It could go on for 20 and 30 years. And the only thing is that the penalty and interest normally is capped at 13%. Now that's yearly amortized. That's amortized over 12 months. It drops to 8%. But so long as they continue to occupy the house as a primary residence, there's nothing that we can do other than when they do call in, and they have to call in to us, I have to tell them, you're really not doing your kids any favors. You know, they're gonna, when you leave this is gonna be a great big giant mess, and a lot of them are like, well, I don't care, you know. That's not much of a concern for them, you know, but.
It's theoretically possible that the tax bill at some point in the future will be greater than the value of the property.
Most certainly. In fact, I saw one, not saw one, we had to calculate one. And calculating the interest on it was so hard because it began in 1998, and there had been several changes to the law over that year. So the way that we calculate penalty and interest had changed twice. So for these 3 years, we had to calculate penalty and interest for this, and then it was hard. It was really hard, and there's not software that does that. So
when do you collect that money? How do you collect that money?
well, when it ceases to be occupied as a primary residence, then we file a lawsuit against the estate of the person who it used to be, or we file a lawsuit against the person who's moved on and moved to somewhere else. From there, it gets real simple real quick. Either you pay it or you lose the house. But anymore, and this is one of the reasons why we have such good resolutions on our lawsuits, is that a lot of people are deciding to pay because everything's worth so much. And most of the time, these tax debts aren't but about 10 or 15% of what the appraised value of the house is, or of the land is. You don't want to lose an asset that's worth $10,000 for $15,000 in debt. That doesn't, and we were all here, not but 15 years ago, when we couldn't sell these properties. We were giving them away. We were anything to try and get them back on the tax roll, and that's just not the world we're living in now. So, you know, that one where they wanted to take it off our hands for $2,000, we drove a little bit harder bargain because we can. Land is worth something. It's all worth something now, so. Oh, yes, yeah.
One thing that I do when I work it's actually right here for y'all. This is your target roll. This is what's turned over July 1 to me. When you're talking about the deferrals, I do search I do search everybody. If you are listed with a deferral with the tax office, I check your account with the appraisal district. I also do a search on you. By that means I check to see if you are still amongst the living, and I check to make sure you have a spouse and stuff like that. If I find an account for any of my counties, I do notify the appraisal district that this person, I don't believe anyone that qualifies for the deferral on this property, is there. And that account, so the appraisal district can, assess the value and determine whether or not that deferral can be removed, because we need that deferral to be removed from the account before we can proceed forward with our collections effort. But we do make a conscious effort. I check twice a year once I get this. So when I check, and I'll check in January, every account listed with a deferral or anything like that to see if any of those need to come off so we can start our collections process for y'all. No. You're welcome.
Well, and this is a list. I believe there's, how many properties are there, Amanda, on this?
Okay, so there is roughly, my goal is to have sometime in the fall a tax sale for Readiness ISD. I have approximately 16 accounts. That would be 10 real properties, so either land or land with mobile home attached or some form of house on there. And then 6 mineral accounts. My goal is to have one this year, like I said, in the fall, and list all these properties for sale in order to, have the tax money paid to Venus ISD. I can offer, if you would like, some school districts choose to do this, but I can submit a list of anything with like an improvement on it, either home or mobile home, to y'all, and you can run it for a cursory search to see if any of those names match with a student in your district, because obviously you don't want to, those are your students. You don't want to affect anyone like that. And if you want, you can decline for me to put that up for sale. That is something that we could do for you. Some school districts are impartial on it, but some, prefer to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, but I am assuming don't want to make assumptions, but you guys are okay with anything just like mineral or land only going up for sale and stuff like that. But if you wanted to approve a full list, we could definitely make that happen for you as well. Yeah.
And the last time we held a sale, we put a list together and we left right up there in the lobby, and I think a lot of people took them, so I think a lot of people were interested. So we'll do that again with it'll have legal descriptions and addresses, and people can do their own research. But as always, if anybody has any questions about anything that has to do with delinquent tax collection, our numbers are on there, or on this report. That's my cell phone number. Have somebody call me. I'm never so busy. Y'all are important to me. So have them call me or have them call Amanda, and whatever their problem is, we'll get it square.
What's the abstract or judgment file? What is that?
Abstract of judgment?
Or judgment files. What is that?
The abstract or judgment is going to be for like a business personal property or a mobile home that if it's a mobile home, like something that it's not attached to the land, so I can't sell that mobile home, or it would be difficult for me to, or it's a business and they haven't paid. So basically we're recording an abstract of judgment in Johnson County, which, in the future, if they're trying to sell property or trying to, get a loan or something like that, that will appear, and that typically can help, in order if you want to, most title companies and stuff like that want to see those things resolved before they're going to grant you a loan or something like that. It's just a tactic. If I'm not able to sell something or see something in a tax warrant, it's a way for us to hopefully, and they're good for 10 years, to try to collect in the future. And that's the best that we can do in certain situations when it's like if a company's just hasn't paid or they've gone out of business or something like that, but those taxes were due at that time. Those are the alternative things that we can do for that.
It's a lien.
Yeah.
It's what it is. So if you owe money on a piece of personal property and you owe it in your own name and you're not incorporated, we'll take a judgment against you personally, and then we'll abstract it here in the county, which is nothing but filing a lien. And then, let's say you own some farmland or whatever, you want to go sell that farmland to somebody, that lien's going to show up against the farmland, and the title company's going to want to settle out with me and with the district before they have the opportunity to move on, because I've just clouded the title. It's a collection technique, and sometimes, she'll do research on some of these, and we'll find out that he doesn't own any land around here, but he does in Limestone County. Well, I'll take the judgment from Johnson County and we'll file it in Limestone County, and then we'll deal with it there. It's a lien. Yeah, well, if they own real property in Texas, we'll find it. This is all real somber type stuff, but I'm happy. We'll find their land and sell it. No, we're nice. We're not like that. But no, we are blessed to have your business. We are very blessed to be working with you. And if there's anything I can do to make that experience better, please let me know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You ready? Okay, may we be excused, Mr.
Yes,
President?
absolutely.
All right, thank you very much.
We're going to switch this up a little bit. We're going to go to item number 16. Consider approval of Prairie Ridge track for elementary school site agreement. And I believe we have a gentleman here with representing Prairie Ridge.
Yes, this is Daniel Swick, and Daniel is here to explain a little bit about what they're doing, and then perhaps the agreement as well. And I've talked with you guys a little bit about this, but anyway, Daniel, you want to tell us a little bit about Prairie Ridge, what you guys are up to, and how it affects our district?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Board, I want to thank you for the time tonight. The intent is to tell you guys a little bit about Prairie Ridge and what our plans are for the future and how Venus ISD is going to fit into those plans. So just kind of as a background, Prairie Ridge is a 1,600-acre master plan community that sits off of Prairie Ridge Boulevard and starts right south of where 287 and 360 intersect. And so the community sits in both Ellis and Johnson counties. Yeah, this is a good. Don't everyone twist their neck too quick looking at this.
Just want you to look at the picture to see if it's,
And so the community sits in both Ellis and Johnson counties. And so, you know, to give you an idea of what you'll see when you got there currently, Provident Realty, which is the development company that we're for, meet it right on the county line. And so, you know, that area is going to open the door for a lot of different types of real estate, assets, neighborhood services, school services, schools themselves. And so, you know, in terms of timeline of when those things are going to happen, we anticipate that there will be homes out there in the next 2.5 to 3 years. And so, you know, last time when we were out here and met with Mr. Hopper, we shared a schedule with him that, you know, kind of showed based on where we are now and what we anticipate our construction timeline to be and our demand, we kind of put a timeline out there that says, here's how many students we think that Venus ISD will need to service in the next 5 years and the next 10 years. And so just rough numbers, you know, we anticipate 1,000 students that will be brought to this area by 2026, so in the next 5 years. And then, you know, as we have things playing out right now with the additional land that we have under contract on the Johnson side, you know, it'll be close to 2,500 students on full build out of the community. And I know that number might sound scary, but that's full build out, and that's, you know, that's 10 to 12 years down the road. And so, you know, I think part of the reason for why Mr. Hopper invited me here is because he has a, you know, something in his hand, a LOI that is for the sale or the purchase from the Venus ISD side of the school site on the Johnson County side. And it's, you know, based on what Mr. Hopper has told us, you know, and I won't get into the details of the school's plans, but, you know, he wanted me to come and educate you guys on what the development looks like now and what it's going to look like 2-3 years from now. And we're excited to be partnering with Venus ISD and, you know, to be good stewards of the land. And we feel this growth is going to be positive for the area and positive for Venus ISD. And so, you know, we're excited for one and if not 2 school sites in the community, and we look forward to partnering with the ISD on it. So,
Couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Who is supplying your water and sewer? City of Grand Prairie?
So the whole community is a freshwater supply district. It's a special district similar to a MUD or a municipal utility district. And that district, which is controlled by a board, but really the developers created that district whenever the community was first formed back in the mid-2000s. And so that freshwater supply district holds the utility rights to serve sewer and serve water. So we actually supply our community with utilities.
We already have wells.
Yeah, we have enough sewer and water capacity to serve our development through full build out.
Now, does, on your south end, does it come all the way and touch 157?
You know, certain parts will, but you know, our land is not contiguous all the way to 67. Now you know, and like I was saying earlier, I think the long-term plan for that road will be to extend all the way down to Highway 67. You know, but kind of more in the intermediate plan, it would be to intersect it with Prairie Ridge Boulevard. And then once the growth is there and once, you know, we get control of more land and, you know, the area gets energized, and the plan is for it to connect all the way down to 67. Yeah, that's right. Energize more land and, you know, kind of make the area more accessible for people coming all the way down south. And so.
So you're abutting Patriot Estates now on 502?
We're.
Your landowners.
According to your drawing.
Yeah.
So they come down the north side of 502.
But don't go all the way to 157.
Correct. Now, of course, 157 is going to probably come close to them.
Yeah, 157 is going the other way.
You can probably go a rock and get from one to the other.
Talk about swinging land.
Yeah, you don't have the swinging land, you don't have all the land to 157.
No, and we're, you know, we've got good relationships with the folks in the area, and we're having active conversations with folks, and, you know, just trying to figure out what's best for the area. But
Land sold last week.
Well, if it did, it wasn't us. You know, we didn't buy that land last week, so.
What's your projections as far as continuing your Prairie Ridge Boulevard over to the Johnson?
So
You wait until you fully built out?
no, yeah. So we'll have, you know, that will serve as kind of a second collector point that'll extend into the Johnson side. This is. You can kind of see here. This isn't all kind of in and out. Sorry, I didn't bring quite enough copies here. Sure. You can see Prairie Ridge Boulevard. Prairie Ridge Boulevard extends and it goes into the Johnson side and kind of serve as one of the two main collectors that are going to kind of drive the traffic of the community.
When do you think the Johnson County side starts?
This is 287.
Right now. I mean, you know, this, like I said, this road is being engineered and we'll start construction upon approvals. And while we're doing that, we'll have builders who will be, you know, kind of building the, you know, the internal community parts within the Johnson County side while we're building that 360 extension. So, you know, we anticipate having homes out there in the next 2.5 to 3 years.
So, looking by your schedule, and I know that these things are all subject to and everything else, but I believe it was 23 that you said you would probably either start or have completed some homes.
That's right. That's right. You know, if from now it'll be about 2 years until we finish that road, and really that road, based on agreements we have with Grand Prairie and certain other, you know, entities, that road is really kind of what we need in order to open that side up and start building out there. And so, you know, about 2.5 to 3 years is when you have houses on the ground out there.
I know I've looked at Grand Prairie's, development, their 2020 plans, whatever. So is your thoroughfare there for that kind of match up with what they envisioned?
Yeah, it is, and you know, it's a constantly evolving equation, like Mr. Hopper alluded to. You know, they're still trying to figure out exactly what their plans look like for the area, and so what I can tell you is it does involve that road. Now, as far as the actual, you know, delineation and actual placement of that road, it might be slightly different, but you know, we've had multiple meetings with them about that road, and they're in full support of it. And you know, what they're trying to figure out is exactly their master plan for all of their ETJ and how the land that we have fits into that. So.
I mean, I've seen what they had before is mostly all just residential.
That's right. That's right.
For the most part, so.
That's right.
With some retail.
Mm-hmm.
So what's in the making for a road to 157 off this? I mean,
Say again.
It goes right past there and it comes to 157.
Mm-hmm.
Is there gonna be something additionally besides that?
No, it'll just be that 360 section. We'll have probably neighborhood roads, you know, that link into some existing roads on that Johnson side of the community. But as far as, you know, kind of the scope of what we're talking about here, that'll be the main kind of collector that we bring down south and ultimately try to connect to 67. Some of the kind of smaller roads might, you know, connect to some of the existing road infrastructure in the county. But you know, we're currently working on planning all that out, and you know, getting a master planner involved and figuring out, you know, how that all kind of connects.
Okay, Mr. Hopper, based on the information that we were talking about Saturday and the agreement, did you work out the language there about the 2 years, if we do a multi-stage bond issue and all
Yes,
that?
Yes, if you'll take a look at this, and just so everybody's on the same page, the letter of intent here basically states that, to build an elementary school, you need 15, 18 acres, thereabouts. So this is approximately 15 acres of raw land. Basically, and Daniel, don't let me put words in your mouth. Basically, what you want to know is that we're serious about putting an elementary school or something like that. And when we say elementary, I mean maybe an elementary school here, maybe an intermediate school there. I mean, basically, they don't want a high
Well, I know how much you love football, so I won't let that get in your way.
So it's about 15 acres, and what it gives here is basically, if you look under the terms of the first paragraph, it goes down here and basically says that within 2 years following the district's sale of voter-approved bonds for the construction of the school, that's when we build a school. Typically, to build a school, I mean, you're going to have that thing done in an elementary school. That would be done within 12 to 18 months anyway. So, and initially it said, and it's just a matter of semantics because the whole point here is the intent. What are you intending to do? And so I didn't want that to say that initially it said that after having passed a bond, well, if it's a multi-phase bond, we may not immediately sell those bonds. Okay, but certainly after we sell the bonds, then that's what we would do. So anyway.
But
So,
the
yes, sir.
first phase might be for a high school.
Yes, sir.
And then the second phase, so if you say 2 years after the sale of the bonds,
Specifically
we
for
may
that.
not be ready to build an elementary, for 3 years because we may build a high school first.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, we want to be sensitive of y'all's schedule and when you issue bonds, and it doesn't happen unless you guys have kind of worked out your schedule and you have bond money to build schools, and we get that. So we want to accommodate you guys with this agreement so that it works with your timeline, but still know all the growth that's coming. So.
If you take a look at the top of the second page, it says purchase price shall be $14,160 per gross acre, which is not a bad rate to do so.
Yeah, and how we came up with that, just candidly, is like Mr. Hopper was saying, that land out there is worth, as we have our fresh water supply district and with all the growth that's happening, that land is becoming increasingly expensive. And so, but our goal is not to, charge you guys market value or, what that land's going to sell for 2 years from now when you build. It's really just to get a good partnership with you guys. So really all that number is, it's the amount that we're going to have to pay to our existing lender to get that land released. So it's it's kind of our cost of giving the land away in a sense.
And just to clarify as well, then you guys will bring utilities to the site.
That's right. We're gonna bring water and sewer directly to your front door, and those utilities are gonna be extended right to that intersection of Prairie Ridge and 360. And so you guys will be very close to that intersection. So we'll bring those stub outs right to your guys' front door.
will there be natural gas available?
Yeah. Yep. There will.
There's a lot into that school. I guess y'all will get a lot out of that yourself. I mean, people that live there, would be great for them to take their kids right there to school in the community instead of having to go on the maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I think it's a good opportunity for a good partnership between the school district and Prairie Ridge, and something that we can both energize the area together. So.
Now, and of course, this is like I said, letter of intent for kind of the kickoff on the Johnson County side. You guys are going to put some, give or take 7,000 homes in. Is that right?
Yeah, over full build out,
Sure,
we'll.
So what I'm saying is we'll be back to do this again at some point, 5 or 6
That's right.
years down the road, maybe 3 or 4 superintendents down the road.
That's right. That's right. It's a long-term partnership.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
still acquiring land?
Yeah. That's our goal, is to expand our footprint out there and make the community a large master plan that'll be amenitized and that will draw people to this area of DFW.
Well, it's growing fast up that way, so.
Yeah.
Will this actually be inside of any city? Will Grand Prairie?
So the way that maybe one day far down the road it'll be part of Grand Prairie City, but it'll still be Grand Prairie's ETJ for the foreseeable future. They don't. cities don't like to annex lands that have bonds associated on them. And so, because we are a freshwater supply district, there's certain bonds associated with the infrastructure. So I don't, maybe at some point it'll be annexed, but it won't be for a long, long time.
Are you operating under an HOA?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a HOA that regulates and kind of maintains the entire community now. And, we have nice amenities out there and probably about, 70 or so homeowners. And so the HOA is, responsible for maintaining and regulating the community.
So the same HOA will go the whole thing?
Yeah.
So basically, what we're actually voting on tonight is the letter of intent to when we do, we could pass a bond, but we're not obligated to build this thing with it, of course, until we sell the bonds, and any elementary school is going to take far less than 18 months, much less 24 months to do.
That's right. And one important thing too to mention, and I'm not quite sure if Mr. Hopper talked about this, but in a scenario to where for whatever reason you guys end up not issuing bonds, or the world gets turned upside down, whatever the scenario might be, we'll buy that land back from you guys as a repurchase option at the same price that we bought it for, so you guys aren't stuck holding that land. And for whatever XYZ scenario, if that were the case, we'll have that built into the contract as kind of a relief lever for you guys. So, you don't have to hold on to a land you're never going to do anything with.
So is our attorney not to, is it the land that will hold the 7,000 homes? Or you're looking to have to get more land to build on?
No, are you referring to the land that the school site is in?
Yes. Well, you're saying you're gonna build out 7,000 homes.
Yeah,
Do you have the land already to build the 7,000 homes, or are you gonna have to acquire more?
Yeah, that's part of the land that we currently have under contract. Yeah, that's right. So we control the land for those homes. Yeah.
So, Mr. Hopper, has our attorney talked to their attorney? Or
Our attorney has been over this, yes.
That's,
So the land that you have under contract, you ain't actually bought all of that?
Yeah, there's various pieces of land that we haven't actually purchased. That's right. That's right.
But you don't see nothing going wrong with that deal?
All the land that we need to extend that highway is under our control now. If we end up acquiring, and that we've purchased now, what you're talking about is, land that we have under our control that might be to the southern border or to the, contiguous to our land, that would just expand our footprint of homes. But we have all the land purchased and under our control for this plan that I just explained to you guys. So any land that we add will just be extra homes that is not necessarily going to affect, our plan to bring this highway down.
So any of this land that you've got here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's already purchased.
That's correct.
And it's under, so.
That's correct.
It's here that we're within what we're talking about.
Well, are we opening up the door for negotiations if we decide that as you come south, we need another school site?
Yeah,
Come
absolutely.
back and talk to you about another.
Absolutely. And as you can see in that drawing, there's actually another school site that is within the existing land that we own on the Johnson County side. And so, there could be a scenario to where you could fit both school sites in land that, we own now. And I think the way the contract will be written up is that you guys will have the sole right to purchase another school site. That way, you'll have that in your pocket, and whenever you need it, you can exercise that right for your additional elementary or high school or whatever it might be.
And it would, and we could get into all that planning and stuff later, but if you have one, that's a full elementary school, and then as the population increases,
Right.
you build the second one, and now you cut this one off and make the second one like an intermediate school, and now you've got enough to, that we we would just, with the expansion that he's talking about, and that's kind of what I was referring to, is that we'll just have a good relationship enough that we'll just continue this right on with the development. Is that what we're talking about, Amy?
That's right.
So this is a letter of intent. When would a contract come into play? If we went out, it would be whenever we did a bond or whatever.
Yeah, well, the
Way down
bond, the
road.
bond would include the price of the land.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if we don't own the land, it's not ours to do.
Well, he had
Yeah.
mentioned
Yeah.
buying it back from us
Yeah.
with a contract, so I was just wondering from here, at what point a contract comes into play, but it's not until we
Yeah.
actually had a bond and,
Yeah, and we can talk about how you guys want to do it. I mean, you know, if you guys committed with the LOI, we can go ahead and draft the contract and get it executed for you guys.
Oh,
And
that's not what I was saying at all.
well, no. But I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, if we kind of know the terms of the deal and we've agreed on, you know, the partnership, then the contract would contemplate you guys buying the land whenever you have issued your bonds and you have those funds available, just so time doesn't go on and everyone forgets about it, right?
Well, I don't think we can forget. So, no, I think, you know, that this helps us, it helps us to plan, of course. And we certainly are going to need those kinds of sites.
Right.
So, I think what basically what Tosh was saying is that, you know, this is a letter of intent, basically saying this is kind of a good faith, a letter of intent saying, yes, this sounds agreeable to everything. When we pass a bond, Lord willing, the cost of the land would be in that bond.
Gotcha.
And boom, we go forward. Yeah.
But Midlothian purchased the land here that you got set aside for them, or have they got to sign an agreement to buy that?
Yeah, that's land that they own, and you know, I'm not exactly sure when they'll start building a school there, but I'm sure it'll be soon. But
They
we
own
were,
it already?
that's right.
It's a pretty good site. I mean, did they own it to begin with?
No, it was we you know, we gave it / sold it to them several years ago. Yeah.
So basically, that's what we have before us is this letter of intent to build an elementary school, $14,160 an acre, about 15 acres, and we are not obligated until such time as we pass that bond and then actually sell the bonds.
Are y'all expecting us to buy that before we pass a bond?
We're not expecting you to buy the land with money you don't have. Yeah. You can buy that land whenever the bonds sell. This is just, you know, we can enter into an agreement that, you know, you guys will purchase that land whenever you have the bond sales and the, you know, capacity to do so.
Now, is this gonna definitely be the land here?
You know, that's just an exhibit that had a guesstimation at where the site could be. Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's a placeholder. It'll be generally in that area, but you know, we can have further meetings or discussions and work with you guys about specific location and specific size and what you guys would all need if you need 17 acres or you need 13. You know, all that stuff is, you know, if we agree to move forward, you know, we can figure all those details out.
Yeah, but
Work with your engineers and.
at
Yeah.
any rate, if the infrastructure, the roads, the utilities, three-phase electricity, natural gas is there at the property line, that's worth a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and that's what we want to do. I mean, we want to make the site ready to go for you guys. So all you have to do is build the school.
And permits and everything, is that, this has been talked about, it's a little confusing. You know how you build a building here, obviously you're dealing with permits, everything through Venus. Are we dealing with Grand Prairie? Who are y'all dealing with as you build your houses
So,
in this area where you're talking about?
so the freshwater supply district, which is the district that we have, we're the entity that issues building permits out in our community. So Grand Prairie comes by and they see what's going on, and we submit all our permits to them and keep good records and upload it to their database. But we've been given the authority to issue building permits out there.
So if we build a school, and obviously water meters would come through your water supply.
Yeah.
But inspectors are gonna come to take a look at your building.
Yeah, Grand Prairie's still going to be involved. That's right. They come out and look around and see what's going on. And
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody's gonna be in charge, and it's not gonna be us.
yeah, that's right. We just, we physically issue the permit, but Grand Prairie they're still checking all the boxes on it.
Their building inspector will.
Exactly,
That's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the Prairie Ridge Track for Elementary School side agreement.
I'll second.
A motion by Tasha, second by Joe. Ms. Russell, all in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, board, for your time tonight. We look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I promise we won't ask me. No, I'm not gonna promise anything.
All good. Thank you.
Okay, so, moving back here, let's go to item number 8, presentation of Gifted and Talented Program, presented by Anne Marie Morgan.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to give you an update of where we are with the GT program. So the mission of the GT program is to provide a differentiated research-based curriculum that supports and challenges each identified gifted and talented student to reach their maximum potential. This year, based on the data we had at the end of last year, we have about 120 students who are identified as gifted and talented, and you can see on the chart where they are in the grade levels. So, and then right underneath the breakdown of demographics. So it's a pretty even split across the grade levels and across the different demographics that we have. We have changed the way we are doing our testing over the past couple of years, and so that reflects the smaller numbers in the lower grades. So one thing that we have wanted to do moving forward is to address the curriculum and instruction for the GT students. And we want to, and this is with the input of our GT coordinators throughout the district and those who serve as GT teachers. And that is to emphasize project-based learning or problem-based learning. So to really allow the students to grapple with issues and to ask questions about those issues and then research and find solutions to them and then do what they can to create the solution. So the best example, and I couldn't have planned this better, is the TSA project that that our students brought in today. It's just a really good example of project-based learning. And so we want to engage our GT students in that as much as possible. So you can see on the second page, just by grade level, how we want to develop those skills in students. In grade one is where the GT starts. So we test students in first grade, and then they begin receiving services at the end of first grade. And that's through a weekly pull-out program. Currently, Miss Gibbons, who is our music teacher, is a certified teacher and has her GT credits as the GT teacher and coordinator at the primary school. And so she works with those students about once a week and engages them in different activities to introduce them to the idea of research and of inquiry. And then new to the GT program this year is a full-time GT teacher at the elementary school. And so for grades 2 through 5, we will be able to serve those students by pulling them out. The plan right now is to serve those students one grade level a day for the entire day. And so it's really exciting that we'll be able to take this approach. With that age group, you can do a lot with them if you have the time to do it. And 25, 30 minutes a week is just not really enough time to engage them in an authentic project-based learning. And so Pam Jarrett is our full-time GT teacher at the elementary school, and she's also going to be supporting the district in coordinating things across the district. For example, parent programs, GT showcases. And so we're really excited about that to give our elementary students a good foundation in project-based learning. From then they'll move on to the middle school, where we currently have a GT class. So students are served daily with a GT class, and that is very tightly aligned to the TSA program. And so there the students have already been engaged in the project-based learning. And so we just want to continue that and to help it grow. And then from there, they'll go on to the high school, where they're served through mainly through their honors courses, dual credit or AP. But we're also working to begin to train all teachers to serve GT students so that we can really meet their needs, the needs of the students, so that we can really help the students capitalize on their unique abilities and engage them in that idea of project-based learning in all of their curriculum at the high school. So this year, our 3 biggest areas of focus are to engage students at all levels in project-based learning, to develop an engaged GT parent community, and to provide opportunities for GT students to showcase their unique talents and abilities. Are there any questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item number 9, review procedures concerning dismissal of school due to weather conditions. Mr. Hopper?
Yes, sir. Goodness. So basically, we contact various news outlets besides using our call-out system, and so this just tells you who we contact, and each one of them you can see have different passwords and passcodes and things like that. That gives you an idea of when that happens, and so it's on. A lot of people use social media more so than today than they used to, and so but we still have a lot of people who are verifying or even some of them their primary source, maybe the news station. So you see the television stations, you see WFAA as well as KDFW. Kind of want to give you an idea of how that's been done, and just to review that each year. So, do you have any questions? Okay.
All right. No questions there. We'll go to item number 10. Consider approval of updated 2021-2022 student outcome goals.
Okay, the student outcome goals, and I think in your packet you got a copy of last year's goals, and specifically we're looking at the because we'd already addressed the first and second student outcome goals. So this is the number 3. This is the CCMR. So there they are. This is the college, career, military readiness goals, and so we've modified those numbers to update them so that those are where they should be. So anyway, Hollis, did you want to address that?
Yes, sir. When we originally did the set of goals, moving forward to that goals, what we were able to tell, simply because the number that you're looking at is a 1920 number. They're 1 year behind on the CCMR piece. In our initial capture of that data, we were almost at a goal. So we had to take a step back and look at where we were currently at and where we wanted to push our kids in that realm moving forward. So it was just, it's an adjustment in the numbers, so that, 70 to 75% of the kids should be college, career, military ready by the time we get to next year, based on the progress that we've made up to this point. Any questions about that?
Okay.
So basically, we're asking to approve that third one along with the other 2, the full package of those goals.
Any other questions? I can make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the updated 2021 to 2022 student outcome goals as presented.
Okay, got a motion by Katie. A second?
I'll second.
Second by Gerald.
second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay. Went on to item number 11. Consider approval of theory of action.
So we looked at this at our last meeting, and considered what our theory of action may be. And what we talked about, and this has been consistent pretty much in all of our goal setting, is that we look at the concept of continuous improvement. The idea being that we're looking at student growth. You know, we all want student achievement, but the problem, the issue with focusing on student achievement alone is that your high-end students, if we focus on student achievement, a lot of times we feel like, well, they're already there, and what we don't want is a complacency, or we don't want a situation where our students who are maybe not where they should be, that we give up on them at all. So, but when we focus on student growth, it's every one of them. It doesn't matter where they come in. If they're already scoring high, they need to score higher. If they're scoring below, they need to increase. So every student increases. So that has the idea of continuous improvement. If continuous improvement takes place in the school district, student achievement will take care of itself. So the idea is that our theory of action, and what that means is anytime we take any action whatsoever, there has to be some kind of thought behind it. It has to be some kind of theory. And so our theory of action then would be continuous improvement. And this is not, as we talked about in our last meeting, this is something that is contiguous through all of our conversations. So what this states is it takes everybody and puts them into the mix. It says so in a theory of action, you have if statements and then statements. If the board exercises oversight that reflects actions to focus on student growth, if the district administration manages curriculum, personnel, facilities, school resources in a manner that prioritizes accountability for student growth, if campus administrators manage their responsibilities in a way that prioritizes accountability for personalized instruction, if instructional staff hold firmly to the belief that each child should gain at least 1 year of academic growth each school year and actively practice means to accomplish it, if auxiliary staff exercise their role of influence and responsibility in providing positive role model, character, and work ethic, then we can ensure collaboration in the fulfillment of our vision of growing excellence in each day through continuous improvement. That's the theory of action, if y'all are good with it.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? I can make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the theory of action for 2021-2022.
I got a motion by Les. Got a second? Second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion passes. All right. All right, moving on to item number 12. Consider approval of NSISD board resolution in support of Legendary Teacher Day.
So basically, this is Legendary Teacher Day is something that was brought about by Dr. Nick Clement, and it's a pretty neat concept. Basically, we would be declaring, I believe it's September 23rd. Yep, September 23rd as Legendary Teacher Day. So what happens is we send out information to our community, our parents, and anybody else that wants to feed in to list a legendary teacher. So what happens is the district can start the program at any time, and we recommend announcement. It says to be done in conjunction with the start of school activities. So that's about now. So we communicate to the stakeholder groups, that's to teachers, to students, to parents, and the community,
that the district is participating in this Legendary Teacher Day program. The district encourages stakeholders to submit an online recognition of their legendary teacher by going online and completing a tribute. And so we give the website, of course. So what happens is the deadline of this is, it's a fairly short window. The deadline is September 10th. And following the deadline, tributes will be retrieved from the database, and a committee from the Teachers Change Brains Foundation shall select an honoree from each of the participating districts. So we will have somebody from our district who would be chosen by this group here as legendary teacher based on the feedback that they get. Each district legendary teacher honoree will receive the following: a $200 honorarium, a certificate of recognition, including the tribute from the submitter, and a signed copy of Legendary Teacher Stories, How to Catch a Swamp Frog. It goes on from there. But anyway, we just basically have to declare that September 23rd is Legendary Teacher Day.
Thank you. Anybody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that, on this board, a resolution in support of the Legacy Teacher Day.
Okay, got a motion by Gerald. and a
Second.
Second by Katie. All in favor? Motion passes.
Hey, Chad,
Mm-hmm.
can we take 5?
Yes. And we can take a 5-minute break here, quick, at 8:25. let's see, we were, okay, 13. Okay, we're moving on to item number 13, presentation of T-Class, Texas COVID Learning Acceleration Support Program.
All right, so this thing has come out very, very quickly. Liz is passing these out. This has only just come out this summer. The Texas COVID Learning Accelerated Supports Program, and we're not gonna get into the weeds of it any more than we have to, because frankly, you don't probably wanna know that much. But basically, TEA has come out with ways to help schools fund some of their projects coming out of COVID. Well, interestingly enough, in doing so, there's several different things you could do. One of those we've been already talking about for months and months, and that is becoming a P-TECH, Principles in Technology, Early College High School. So they actually have some funding that's available to do that. Now, we don't know how much funding that's gonna be, but it's some helps anyway. So some of the other things on there, and you're gonna see some language such as Decision 9, Decision 4, those kinds of things. That's TEA language. Basically, there are about 9 different things, and then there's subgroups.
10 decisions you have to make and a breakdown of that decision.
And so nobody's doing all of them. Some schools are doing none of them. We looked at this and said, what would we recommend that we do out of all of this? So we looked at instructional materials, because we'd already be getting instructional materials anyway, and can they help us with that? Teacher pipelines. Teacher pipelines is about sort of a takeoff on the Grow Your Own, that there'd be some funding here for paraprofessionals to be able to
finish their degree, and also some supports for student programs who wanted to study to become educators. Bottom line is, we got to get more teachers, and if we can grow our own, that's the best way to do it. So that's something we wanted to do anyway as well. So they've got that, and then of course, like we said, the innovative school, the P-TECH. So that kind of figured right into what we wanted to do. So Hollis, you want to talk a little bit about some of this?
In regards to the teacher pipeline, the facets of that, like Mr. Hopper mentioned, is it provides funds and opportunities for us to take paraprofessionals who have an associate's degree, where we're given funding, not a specific amount, but we're giving the funding to allow them the 2 years to complete their bachelor's degree and get certified as a teacher. It also provides a pathway in our education and training, which we currently have at the high school. We already have the pathway that our students are following in underneath human services, and they're already in that track, but we're taking it a step further so that our students, upon graduation, are eligible for Educational Aid 1 certification. So legitimately, our seniors that graduate, once this program is in place, could come back the following year and be paraprofessionals for us. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, so to speak. It's looking at grow your own teachers, grow your own paras, and added to the P-TECH, within the P-TECH, this is a hand-in-glove situation, because education and training will fit perfectly into align with the P-TECH program in that facet as well. So it's a win-win situation, whichever way we go. Okay? Dr. Morgan?
So the instructional materials we're looking at is for secondary math. It's going to fill in the gap between when the state provides money for the resources until the next time they do. And so this is a way to get the materials. We already have access to the online materials for free, but this will give us the print materials for free. So we just want to take advantage of that. And then the other one is going to provide some coursework for our juniors and seniors. That's Decision 3. It's part of that to help those juniors and seniors who need a little bit more support before they go to college get some like remediation classes out of the way in high school rather than having to take them at college.
So basically, that's the T-class in a nutshell. And what we do from here is we simply let them know that our intent is to apply for these things. And then they'll get back with us, right?
It's a non-competitive situation in that if you apply, depending on how many schools across the state apply in that certain pot of money, distribution is already a formula. So if, say, 10 schools apply in the P-TECH, we're gonna get money there. If 1,500 schools apply so they've already allotted specific amounts, and it's like we were told, when that pot of money runs dry, it just runs dry. But they have allocations set up for the 10 different decisions, and these 4 are the ones that are going to support us in the best direction moving forward.
So basically, it's just a presentation, tell you guys kind of what's up our sleeve. So.
Okay. Well, thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, moving to item number 14, consent agenda. Anybody have anything they questions on, maybe want to pull out for further discussion, or if not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, got a motion by Greg, I got a second? Second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay, let's see, this is the one that's gonna, number 15, election of official delegate and alternate to the TASB Delegate Assembly. All right, I'm gonna open it up for, nomination. Nominations are now in order for the official delegate to the TASB Delegate Assembly.
I nominate Chad Sutton for the office of delegate for the TASB Delegate Assembly.
Okay, got a nomination for Mr. Sutton. Nominated for the official delegate assembly. Let's see, what else am I? Is there any other further nominations for?
Make a motion, nomination cease, and Chad Sutton be elected by acclamation.
Okay. No other, okay, let's get a nomination from Joe and a second by Greg. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay. And then we're gonna do for an alternate.
Who was alternate last year?
Alternate was, well, I believe it was Les.
We didn't go last year.
But we didn't have one last year, so it would have been, yeah.
Before that,
The 2019, I think, is what.
I nominate that although we've already done one, that
Yeah.
we keep the same that we had,
Okay.
which would be Les Owens.
Okay, I got a nomination for Les Owens.
They don't serve good food.
They got coffee.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
It's a box lunch.
Any other further nominations? If not, got a motion by Greg for Les. Get a second? Second by Gerald. All in favor? All right. Les is the alternate. All against. All right. Number 6, well, I'm sorry, we're gonna go to here. Number 17, consider approval of corrective action plan agreement.
So corrective action plan agreement, we need, with a couple of items we need to plug into our
District improvement plan, and so those are on page 1 of 3, actually the 3rd page of that section. So basically, we're saying that we'll stick those things in our corrective action plan, and or in those in our district improvement plan, and then we'll bring that district improvement plan to the board next month for approval.
Anybody has any questions or like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the corrective action plan agreement.
Okay, got a motion by Tasha,
Second.
got a second by Katie. All in favor? Motion passes, okay. We don't need to go into executive session. On to item number 20. Or, I'm sorry, let's go to 21. Item number 21, consider approval of updated stipend schedule.
Okay, the updated stipend schedule. We had a person last year who did our color guard. And sometimes in band, we'll hire a color guard person, and sometimes we'll hire, like last year we had a drum, what's the word I'm thinking of, percussion guy. Well, he eventually came to work for us full time. Bottom line is our color guard person is no longer doing this, and so instead of doing that, we took just a portion of what we were paying for that other person and made us, and if we have that stipend here for the color guard, then that would mean a change in the stipend schedule. So bottom line is it's $1,500 for color guard stipend for one of our existing staff members.
Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the updated stipend schedule.
Okay, got a motion by Katie. Got a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tasha. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay, item number 22, consider approval of changes and updates to the Venus ISD Emergency Operation Plan and Threat Assessment Team.
Sir.
Oh.
We need to go to close. That,
we need to go.
To discuss it.
Okay. We go back to item 18, executive session for, where are we going? That's going to be
I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to, and just remember as we're doing this, we're getting out into the community. We're telling our story about the school district. We're also beginning to tell people about the growth that's coming. So we can start to gear those thoughts in that direction, but it also gives us an opportunity to take those questions and answers directly from people. So it's a pretty good time. So.
And these are all Mondays?
Yes, ma'am, they're all Mondays, and I tried to make them, pretty consistent in that way. I mean, people that have a Monday conflict, I mean, that's obviously a problem, but they can pick and choose on these things, and they don't have to live in that neighborhood to go to that particular date, So they're on Mondays and they're at 6 p.m. So.
Same presentation at all locations?
Yes, sir. Same presentation at every, so if you've made one, basically you're gonna hear the same or something similar. Now, if something develops in between some of them, we may modify a little bit, or if we learn a better way to present it, we may modify it a bit. But basically, the idea is to bring the same information to each one of them. And we always ask people to come to the school for meetings. This gives us an opportunity to take the school to their neighborhood.
Is it limited to just 3 board members?
No, ma'am, it's not.
Okay.
It's not, because it's not a board meeting as such.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, if you got a quorum, it's still a quorum. And if you're talking school business, you're still having an illegal meeting, i.e. what the illegal meeting is. Doesn't mean you have a meeting, we didn't have a meeting, but if it's not a meeting, then you can't have more than 3 there talking. Now, you can have 4 there, but only 3 can talk about it.
Right.
The other one has to sit out and they're just the audience.
Right.
So in other words, you could be present.
You can be present,
Yeah.
but
But not involved.
you
Yeah.
can't participate.
Can hang out.
Right.
So.
Otherwise, you've got that official open acts violation that everybody talks about so much.
Right.
Well, you can always post it,
Yeah, you can post it as a.
just to cover yourself.
And that's probably the best way to do it anyway, just to post it as a meeting, but
Possible meeting, yeah.
community meeting, yeah.
Okay.
So, that's it.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
You have anything?
Just so you guys know that we started the year with 5 students in DAP. 4 of them was carryover. We did have a transfer student, or not a transfer student, a student moving to the district who came in with 16 days left on a placement from his previous district. So we're up to 5 to start the year, and those will be filing out within the next 2 weeks. So it'll get a smaller population, but that's where we're started.
Okay. Do you have anything on athletics?
Oh, you skipped one, CTE.
Oh, well, yeah, CTE. There we go.
Over the course of the summer and some of the information that we've presented to you, we're very strongly in the process of trying to get this P-TECH off the ground with the presentation at the last board meeting, and looking very closely. We're going to meet in September once the dust kind of settles on the start of the year, and focus on what programs we currently have, what direction they're headed as far as the industry-based certification. I can tell you right now, with the number of students we have at high school and middle school, electives are a hot topic, and our electives in that regards are very largely CTE related. So we're trying to start to narrow that focus. So as we start this process in planning for P-TECH, we'll have our coursework already laid in place that'll fit perfectly into that. Athletically, our girls played at Whitney in a tournament this past weekend. They went 1-3 on the volleyball court. We have our home opener tomorrow night starting at 4:30. So come out and support the Lady Bulldogs. We will scrimmage this coming Friday. This past Friday, we went to Dublin. We went one-on-one in the series where we were 15-15, 10-10, all that stuff. and then they got us by 1 on the live quarter. So this Friday starting at 6. JV will start at 6, varsity will start at 7 at Bulldog Stadium. So come out and support the Bulldogs in our last scrimmage before home opener the following week.
I got a question. Are we still, as far as buying tickets for the game, are we still doing the same
Just so
process?
everyone in the room is aware, we met with our DEC a couple of weeks ago, and it's the general consensus, other than Hillsborough, everyone's still doing electronic tickets. The difference being is they're in the process, not only our football district, but our basketball district is getting district passes. So each of you will get a district pass. So since there's not a limitation on seats, we've already created a senior pass. So district passes, senior passes, those sorts of things. But as far as ticket purchase, it'll be online pretty much across the board with everybody in our district, both football and basketball and volleyball. So the first volleyball game's already set up online, but you guys will not have to worry about, oh crap, I gotta email Liz or whatever, get a comp ticket. We're not doing comp tickets, we're doing passes. And I have not seen the passes as of yet, but I think we can recognize you if you walk in the building. So that's how we're handling the ticketing for this year.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Perfect. I think I'm bilingual ESL, or any questions for anybody? Got any questions on the reports? I mean, we've already talked about with our chief financial officer. We've already gone over all the numbers, so I do not. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Does anybody else have anything that you want to add on the reports?
Kids are tickled to death about you know, they really, I think, didn't really believe that they were actually getting free lunches. So
You tell them the story about the young lady in high school.
well, you know, she came in, she walked up to the table, and we were having lunch there, and she said, well, how much is the lunch? And I said, well, first I told her, I said, well, I pointed to one of the teachers, I said, she'll take care of it for you. And anyway, bottom line is, I said, I tell you what, I said, it'll be free for you all year long. And she just never did believe me. Anyway, I just got to pull on her leg. We had fun with it. But you know, I was over at the high school again today, and anyway, just you know, the kids are kind of getting it. So it's nice to see. It's nice to be able to provide that. We just need to remind parents throughout the year that just this year. So, yeah.
Did the balances that were on parents' previous accounts and stuff was that
rolled over to
has that happened? Because I
It
knew we
has
were going
happened.
to.
Nothing went out about it, but it did, I just stumbled on it for mine. 'Cause
Awesome.
My son, it automatically rolled over to the new thing, but if you didn't know, I don't know how people found out about it.
I stumbled on it because my son ate in the snack bar off of last year's money.
Awesome.
So they do
Cool.
apparently have rolled it over.
Yeah, they rolled it over, but I can still see it on the old one, and it would still allow you to add money to the old one, so I don't know.
We did that too.
That,
Because
yeah,
he's not just gonna eat them lunch.
no.
He's gonna eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that did in fact get facilitated without an issue.
And we're, as far as like transportation, we're good. We're started off well, and everybody's.
You know, transportation is always interesting the first couple of weeks of school. Enrollment changes so much, which is, you know, it's just ours to deal with. But we've had a few glitches but it hasn't been anything major so far. So in fact, the first 2 days I felt were just incredibly smooth. But we, you know, yes, sir.
Can I share the Kathy story?
Which one?
The first day story?
Sure.
Kathy's course had parents calling non-constant. When's my
Nothing else, we'll go to item number 25, adjournment at 9:06.